Rwanda versus Burundi, which is better? Rwanda and Burundi are landlocked countries in the Great Rift Valley, where the African Great Lakes region and East Africa converge. Both are also one of the smallest countries on the African mainland, as well as our neighbors. Besides similar borderlines, both countries are members of the African Union, Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, United Nations, and a non-aligned movement. They have several similarities, but in this video, we are interested in the differences that set them apart so that we can decipher which country is better than the other. Hello Displorers, welcome to another informative video presented to you by Displorer. In this video, we shall compare Rwanda and Burundi to determine which country is better. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our videos. To determine, we would need to pick apart their demographic, socioeconomic and political data to see which comes on top, but first, let us look into their geographic. Geography. The entire Rwandan territory is at high altitude, and besides its many rivers, Rwanda has many lakes, the largest being Lake Kivu, which is one of the 20 deepest lakes in the world at 480 meters. Mountains dominate central and western Rwanda, and the country is sometimes called the land of 1,000 hills. Rwanda has a temperate tropical highland climate with lower temperatures than are typical of equatorial countries because of its high elevation, with typical daily temperature ranging between 12 and 27 degrees Celsius. Though rainfall varies geographically, global warming has caused a change which has led to decreasing agricultural productivity. One of the smallest countries in Africa, Burundi is landlocked and has an equatorial climate with average elevation of 1,707 meters, with lower elevations at the borders. A country with many rivers and lakes enjoys pleasantly cool weather with an average temperature of 20 degrees Celsius around the central 23 degrees Celsius Tanganyika, but then cooler at 16 degrees Celsius around the highest mountains. There are two national parks, Kibira National Park to the northwest, Ruvubu National Park to the northeast, both established in 1982 to conserve wildlife populations. With better climatic conditions and a more favorable relief, this first round goes to Burundi. Economy. Rwanda is a long way from its 1994 genocide when its economy suffered heavily, with widespread loss of life, failure to maintain infrastructure, looting and neglect of important cash crops. The economy has since strengthened and emerged, making strong exports markets like China, Germany and the United States. The resource-poor nation's economy is based mostly on subsistence agriculture, with coffee and tea being a major cash crop export. Rwanda's mining industry, with products such as cassiterie, wolframite, gold, and cotton, are used in the manufacture of electronic and communication devices, such as mobile phones. Key tertiary contributors include banking and finance, wholesale and retail trade, hotels and restaurants, transport, storage, communication, insurance, tourism, real estate, business services, and public administration. Despite all the boasts in the Rwandan economy, the GDP per capita as of 2021 stands at just $845, even though it's a great improvement from 2009's $579. Despite how low Rwanda's GDP per capita is, resource-poor Burundi is even lower at just $195 as of 2021. This is due to an underdevelopment manufacturing sector which depend on subsistence agriculture employing more than 90% of the population. Plagued by ongoing civil unrest, overpopulation and soil erosion, Burundi's primary exports are coffee and tea, which account for more than half of foreign exchange earnings. As a result, Burundi is heavily dependent on aid, as foreign aid represents 48% of Burundi's national income, and the economy of Burundi faces several underlying weaknesses: low governmental capacity, corruption, nepotism, a high poverty rate, poor educational levels, a weak legal system, a poor transportation network, and overburdened utilities that have prevented the implementation of banned economic reforms. For this round, Rwanda takes a lead not only for the much higher GDP per capita, but also for a more advanced economy altogether. Infrastructure. To emerge from its turbulent years, the Rwandan government prioritized funding of several infrastructural projects, including water supply development and roads infrastructure. Sanitation projects have also been promoted, which has made Rwanda one of the cleanest countries in Africa. To reduce the country's dependence on hydroelectricity, the government also invested heavily in a scheme to extract methane gas from Lake Kivu, expected in its first phase to increase the country's power generation by 40%. The government's economic development and poverty reduction strategy for 2013-2018 aims to increase access to electricity to 70% of households by 2017. In the same year, construction began on the Bugesera International Airport to the south of Kigali, which will become the country's largest when it opens, complementing the existing Kigali Airport. On the other hand, Burundi's transport network is limited and underdeveloped, as the country is considered the least globalized country in the world. Bujumbura International Airport is the only airport with a paved runway serviced by 4 airlines: Brussels Airlines, Ethiopian Airlines, Kenya Airways, and Rwanda Air. The country has a road network, but less than 10% of the country roads are paved and limited connections to neighboring countries like Tanzania and Democratic Republic of Congo. Despite some improvements in the Burundian infrastructure, Rwanda still has it better, hence taking another point here. Culture. Given about 85% of Rwandans are Tutsi, Kinyarwanda, which is also one of the official languages of the Rwanda alongside French and English, is the first language of almost the entire population. Music and dance are an integral part of Rwandan ceremonies, festivals, social gatherings, and storytelling. The last Saturday of each month is Umuganda, a national mourning of mandatory community service lasting from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., during which all able-bodied people between 18 to 65 are expected to carry out community tasks, such as cleaning streets or building homes for vulnerable people. The cuisine of Rwanda is based on local staple foods produced by subsistence agriculture, such as bananas, plantains, pulses, sweet potatoes, beans, cassava, but less meat. Burundi's culture is based on local tradition and the influence of neighboring countries, though our cultural prominences have been hindered by civil unrest. Since farming is the main industry, a typical Burundian meal consists of sweet potatoes, corn, and peas. Due to the expense, meat is eaten only a few times per month. Crafts, especially basket weaving, are an important art form in Burundi and are attractive gifts to many tourists. Drumming is an important part of the cultural heritage, and the country's oral tradition is strong, relaying history and life lessons through storytelling, poetry, and song. Both nations have good and unique culture, but for the Umuganda in Rwanda, which has left the country the cleanest, Rwanda still takes home this point. Education. While schooling in Rwanda is fee-free, there is an expectation that parents should contribute to the cost of the children's education by providing them with materials, supporting teacher development, and making a contribution to school construction. From 1994 until 2009, secondary education was offered in either French or English because of the country's increasing ties with the East African community and the Commonwealth. Now only the English syllabi are now offered, with more and many institutions of tertiary education. The country's literacy rate is currently about 73.2%, up from 38% in 1978 and 58% in 1991. The adult literacy rate in Burundi is estimated to be 68.38%, which is a fall from 2015's 85.6%. Burundi's literacy rate is relatively low due to low school attendance and because literacy in Kirundi only provides access to materials printed in that language. Burundi's health system suffers from a lack of adequate infrastructure and human resources to meet urgent community health needs. The educational system of Burundi is a shell of what the country requires, hence Rwanda takes another point for this round. Health. The quality of healthcare in Rwanda has historically been very low, both before and immediately after the 1994 genocide with malaria, and AIDS being very prominent. But with President Kagame's Vision 2020 development program, healthcare was boosted as financing and management of healthcare was given to local communities, with better results in. In recent years, Rwanda has seen improvements on a number of key health indicators, such as life expectancy, which increased from 55.2 to 64.0 under 5 mortality, which decreased from 106.4 to 52.0 per 1,000 live births, and incidence of tuberculosis, which dropped from 101 to 69 per 100,000 people. The country's progress in healthcare has been cited by international media and charities. Burundi has several hunger and malnourishment rates of all 120 countries ranked in the Global Hunger Index, as the civil war in 1962 had put a stop on the medical advancements in the country. Burundi again went into a violent cycle in 2015, jeopardizing the citizens of Burundi's medical care. Like many sub-Saharan African countries, Burundi uses indigenous medicine in addition to biomedicine. As of 2015, roughly 1 out of 10 children in Burundi die before the age of 5 from preventable and treatable illnesses, such as pneumonia, diarrhea, and malaria. The current violence in Burundi has limited the country's access to medication and hospitality overall, resulting in a low life expectancy from 60.1 years as of 2015 to even lower. According to the WHO, the average life expectancy in the country is 58 to 62 years, with common diseases like malaria, typhoid fever, and HIV/AIDS on the rise. With respect to health, Rwanda still takes another point. Politics. The president of Rwanda, currently Paul Kagame, is the head of state and has broad powers. The president is elected by popular vote every 7 years and appoints the prime minister and all the members of cabinet. In the 2015 referendum, which had been brought following a receipt of a petition signed by 3.8 million Rwandans, Kagame changed the constitution, meaning he could stay on as president until 2034. Despite many negative reviews from some world watchers, Rwanda has low corruption levels relative to most other African countries, constantly ranked amongst the least corrupt, most clean, most progressive, and Paul Kagame considered one of Africa's most loved presidents. Burundi's political system is multi-party state where the president is the head of state and the head of government, where there are currently 21 registered parties. Burundi's government has been repeatedly criticized by human rights organizations, including Human Rights Watch, for the multiple arrests and trials of journalist Jean-Claude Kavumbago for issues related to his reporting. Burundi officially left the International Criminal Court on 27 October 2017, the first country in the world to do so, a move that came after the UN accused the country of various crimes and human rights violations such as extrajudicial killings, torture, and sexual violence. Both countries most certainly don't have model political systems, but given that Rwanda is less corrupt with the most loved African presidents, this round goes to Rwanda. Burundi had a good run for the crown, but Rwanda, with points on its economy, infrastructure, educational system, health, and politics, takes home the crown as the better country. But don't forget that the better country is subjective and depends on the primary reason for going to any country. There you have it, explorers. That was a comparison between Rwanda and Burundi. Thanks for watching this video, and if you did enjoy the video, do well to give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and share with your friends.